You gotta wonder, what happens when one of the most secretive and valuable AI companies in the world accidentally shows everyone its crown jewels? Well, that's not a hypothetical. It's exactly what just happened to Anthropic. And this is the story of how one tiny little mistake gave all of us an absolutely unprecedented look inside a closed AI giant.
And when I say the stakes are high, I mean high. We're talking about a company that's reportedly eyeing an IPO worth around $38 billion. That's the kind of number that you really, really don't want at risk when your most important source code ends up plastered all over the public internet. Oh, and did I mention this is the third time it's happened? Yeah.
So, right, how on earth does a mistake this big even happen? In this first part, let's break down the what and the how of this multi-billion-dollar blunder. What's so telling is this response, right here from the creator of Claude Code himself. He didn't point fingers at a person. He pointed at the system. This wasn't some developer having a bad day. It was, in his words, a manual deploy step that should have been better automated. And that kind of reframes this whole thing, doesn't it? It's not just a slip-up. It's a fascinating peek into the real pressures of building elite software.
Okay, so what was the actual technical boo-boo? It's something called a source map leak. Now, for anyone who's not deep in the code, a source map is basically a treasure map for developers. It's this debug file that lets you take the messy, compressed code that runs on a website and reconstruct the original human-readable source code. A single misconfiguration accidentally bundled this entire map, all 59 megabytes of it, over 500,000 lines of code, into a public release. Whoops.
And the internet? Well, the internet is fast. At 4:23 in the morning, Eastern Time, a researcher posted the link. Within just a few hours, the code was literally everywhere, copied onto thousands of GitHub pages. I mean, before Anthropic's legal team could even get their morning coffee, the code was already being rewritten from scratch and hosted on platforms they couldn't touch. The genie wasn't just out of the bottle, it was already building brand new bottles of its own.
But here's the thing, this leak wasn't just about code. It was a roadmap to Anthropic's entire future. As developers started digging through all these files, they found a goldmine of unreleased, totally secret features just sitting there, hidden behind internal flags. So let's peel back that first layer. First up, we've got Kairos. Now, this isn't just a feature, it's a look at the next generation of AI assistants. Imagine an always-on Claude that's just watching your work in the background, thinking about it overnight, and then proactively jumping in to help you. It's a persistent companion, not just a tool you call when you need it.
And then there's this gem, Undercover Mode. Get this, it was a system designed to help Anthropic's own AI contribute to open source projects without anyone knowing it was an AI. The code even had a direct prompt to the model that said, and I quote, "Do not blow your cover." I mean, given the whole leak situation, the irony is just, it's perfect. Next up is UltraPlan. This one is all about deep thinking. We're talking raw computational power. It basically offloads super complex planning tasks to a much more powerful model that can just sit there and think for up to 30 minutes straight. That's way longer than any normal chat session. It's kind of like sending your AI on a solo brainstorming retreat to come back with a brilliant idea. And this is where it just gets wonderfully weird. Buried inside the code for one of the planet's most advanced AI coding tools was Buddy, a fully featured Tamagotchi-style virtual pet that literally lives inside your code editor. I'm not kidding. And this just shows you how detailed this thing was. We're talking 18 different species, 5 whole tiers of rarity from common to legendary, a 1 in 100 chance for a shiny version, and it even had stats like debugging skill, patience, and my personal favorite, chaos. It sounds playful, and it is, but think about it. It's also exercising the exact systems you'd need for persistent memory and user interaction in those much more serious AI agents. Pretty clever. But it wasn't just secret features that were uncovered. The code also told a really human story. It revealed the messy, chaotic reality of building cutting-edge software under insane pressure. This mix of absolute genius and frantic duct tape solutions. On one hand, you've got just brilliant stuff, advanced multi-agent systems, an AI-powered permission classifier. But on the other hand, you have the mess. A single user interface file that's over 5,000 lines long, 61 different files with workarounds for the same bug, and a lonely to-do comment left on line 4,114. This right here is what high-stakes development actually looks like behind the scenes. And deep inside all that mess, developers found this very cryptic line of code. Now, at first glance, it's just total gibberish. But what it really is pure, unadulterated programmer humor born from frustration. It turns out that code simply spells the word duck. So why? Why go to all that trouble? Well, because the actual string duck was colliding with some internal code name and breaking all their automated systems. So instead of fixing the whole system, some engineer just said, forget it, and encoded the word in hexadecimal to get around it. It's a hilarious and very real example of just making it work. All right, so the code is out there, secrets, mess, and everything else. Anthropic's reaction was, as you'd expect, swift, and it kicked off this massive cat-and-mouse game between a multi-billion-dollar corporation and, well, the collective cleverness of the entire internet.
Anthropic went on the offensive big time. They issued over 8,100 copyright takedown notices to platforms like GitHub. The goal was simple: scrub every last trace of this leak from the web. But they were about to learn a very, very old lesson about the internet.
It became this completely unwinnable game. For every repository Anthropic got taken down, more would just pop up. But then, developers got even smarter. They started doing what are called clean room rewrites, basically translating the entire architecture into a totally new programming language, like Python. The logic is the same, but the code itself is technically a new creative work, which makes it arguably immune to copyright claims. Checkmate. And that really brings us to the inevitable conclusion, which is perfectly summarized here. The secret was out, and it's out forever. There is no amount of legal action that can put this particular toothpaste back in the tube. So, okay, let's step back from the corporate drama and the clever hacks for a second. What's the real takeaway here? What does this leak actually mean for the rest of us and for the future of AI? Well, first, it completely shatters the myth of security by obscurity. You can't hide your secrets if the secrets themselves get leaked. But way more importantly, the world now has a public roadmap for building these incredibly advanced AI agents. This leak basically handed the blueprint to every single competitor and open source developer on the planet, which is going to dramatically speed up the entire field. And it just poured a ton of fuel on that huge debate in AI right now. Should these powerful tools be built in the open, or should they be kept behind closed doors? And that leaves us with this final central question. For Anthropic, and really for the whole AI industry, this leak forces a choice. When your most valuable secrets are suddenly out there for the world to see, what's your next move? Do you double down on secrecy and just try to build higher walls? Or do you embrace this new reality and compete by creating an even better recipe, right out in the open for everyone to see? Definitely something to think about.